Hello, this video is about PayPal versus Stripe. I've used both of these heavily, and I've actually switched from one to the other. At least I'm in the middle of switching as best I can, and have been doing that for the last couple months. And I'm going to tell you why in this video, and I've used them both heavily, and I think that there's one that is significantly better than the other, and even though it's not better in every single way. I'm going to talk about that in this video. So here's kind of a screenshot of my PayPal account. Here's a screenshot of my Stripe account. You can kind of see, both of these, actually active. So my name's David Hood, and I've made well over $1 million online, and I'm on a mission to help 10,000 people make their first million online. So let's talk about where they don't differ. So they both accept credit cards and have basically the same credit card fee structure. You might find slight differences, but by and large, you're going to pay about the same, something on the order of about 3%. A lot of people try to avoid that, but at the same time, it's just sort of like, to me, this is kind of the cost of doing business. You have to pay credit card fees. You want to be able to accept credit cards, you got to pay credit card fees. And it just makes it a lot easier for your customers to pay. And, would you, is there, if you even lose one customer over the course of like 5 years, maybe it's not worth it to try to avoid using credit card fees. And anybody who takes credit cards is going to have to charge you some amount of a fee. They both have kind of aggressive consumer protection, and by that I mean if someone files a complaint against you, unless you have like really strong evidence, then they're going to go with the person who filed the complaint. They both do single and recurring payments and automated payments. They both have lots of like shopping cart integrations. These are two really big players in the market. And so, if you're looking to integrate your shopping cart, any decent shopping cart is going to be able to integrate with both of these. So that's something to keep in mind. So PayPal was actually, Elon Musk was a part of creating it. And he wasn't the only owner, and he actually didn't want to sell it. And when they sold it, but they went ahead and sold it, and that wasn't the first company that he sold, but it was the first like super big one. I think he had sold another one that had made him like $10 million prior to that, but this one he made, I think, hundreds of millions of dollars. He ended up spending all that money. But let's see. So one of the pros of PayPal is it's really easy to go in and set up like a recurring payment link to a client. Like when I have a new client, I can just send them a link, and it can actually be to where they pay more or less in the first month, and then it has kind of an ongoing basis. That's really, really easy to set up. It's easy to set up like a buy now and subscribe payment button, or like a URL that someone can click where it takes them, and they can shop, they can buy there. One thing, and this is going to give you the hint, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I've switched away from PayPal because they actively hate digital marketers. I'm not sure if it's SEO specific or just digital marketers in general. They have said something when dealing with support along the lines of that they just don't they don't really want digital marketers, which is just really strange to me. I don't completely misunderstand it, because I think that there's a lot of kind of scammy type people going on out there, but at the same time there are real real businesses that have legitimate histories like my own, or I don't have like complaints, and I'm not scamming people. I'm trying to provide valuable products and services, but at the same time they just kind of put us all in a bucket, and they really don't like us. Also, I feel like they're resting on their laurels, and if you look at like what it looks like, I mean, this is basically like the back end looks roughly the same. I think they maybe changed it like once in the last 10 years, and it was just kind of a little bit of a surface change. Their features and what they're capable of doing is basically the same, and they're kind of they have really, really terrible support. This is part of why I think they're resting on their laurels. They're just kind of, I would be surprised if in 10 or 20 years they still had kind of the market position that they have now, unless they make some big changes, because they're just getting a really poor name. They're really easy to use, and they kind of have a lot of market share, and so people trust them to a certain degree. at the same time, most of the people that I know that use them, just they don't like them. So there was this example of terrible support that was just so absurdly ridiculous. So I submitted some sort of support request, and I can't remember exactly what it was about, but they sent me back a survey. First of all, the support was terrible. They sent me a survey on like a holiday weekend on like a Saturday, and I went to fill out the survey. I want to say like 4 or 5 days later, like not less than a week. So let's say like Tuesday, Wednesday of the following week, and the survey had expired. And which just kind of blows my mind that they would, first of all, that the survey would expire. You know, maybe I can understand like 60 days later, but less than a week later, and it kind of just shows their whole philosophy. It's just the idea that the survey would expire so soon. It just, who thought of that? It's so bad. And the response, sometimes there's been a lot of times, and I've dealt with them for years, where you submit a support request and just crickets, and you submit another support request, crickets, with no response. How, as a company, do you have no response to your customers? I don't get that. It doesn't matter how big you are. It makes like Time Warner Cable and like the cable company support look like the best thing ever, because they actually do respond. There's actually someone, even if you have to wait 30 minutes on the phone call, there's actually some way to respond, right? And I would expect at least some sort of response. And I'm not expecting it to be like instant or like perfect every time, but consistently no response from support, which is just horrible. It just blows my mind. Okay, so Stripe. Why have I switched to Stripe? Their support is much better. And they're newer. They're not like brand new, but they're not resting on their laurels. They at least at this moment that I'm shooting this video, they're actually trying to improve things, and you can just tell the way they have things set up is much more modern, and it's not just on the surface. Now it is a little bit more difficult to set up recurring payments. I would say difficult. There's just some extra steps that are required, and once you figure it out, you've figured it out. It's not a big deal. But at the same time, this extra steps adds some more flexibility, and it's actually easier to set up a more kind of complicated shopping cart. Like with PayPal, in order to like set up a shopping cart that is kind of formatted in the way that you want, that isn't a PayPal shopping cart, is actually more difficult. So in some ways, you have to. It's not difficult in every way with Stripe, and ultimately it benefits me to have to set it up like that. And they don't actively hate digital marketers. Essentially, right. So really, this combined with this, and this all together, it's just like it's sort of a no-brainer. So if you're an SEO service provider, I would definitely not recommend using PayPal. Stripe isn't perfect. Both of them, and they're not the best thing ever in every single way, but I would definitely heavily recommend not making Elon Musk any sadder than he is right now in this picture, and go with Stripe. He doesn't lose any money by you going away from PayPal. And I just feel pretty strongly that PayPal is not a good company. It's not well run at all. This survey, their support, it just is mind-boggling how poor their support is, and I can't imagine any sort of company lasting for much longer. And this is not just like a new thing. I've been using PayPal for years, and I've tried to switch repeatedly, and it's just been kind of too big of a task. And but their support has just been terrible for years and years and years. So it's not like this is like a new thing. Oh, well, maybe they got a new guy in charge and they made some mistakes. No, this has been going on forever. And I don't expect it to change anytime soon. I don't think they care about their customers. I think it's just super poorly run, and I heavily recommend that you go with someone else, even if it's not Stripe. I like Stripe so far. I've been using them for a couple months now, and I'm generally happy with them. Overall, they're much better in my opinion. So I would avoid PayPal pretty much at all costs, and go with Stripe if you're comparing the two. If you like this video, please like this video and subscribe. If you have any questions, please put a comment below, and I'm happy to respond. I will respond to comments. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye.